Hey guys, I wanted to share some tips with you today about how to integrate a rescue dog or shelter dog into your home. Normally, I'm mainly focusing on a dog that is a little bit older than the 8 to 12 week puppy age. So, a dog that's probably had some life experiences. Maybe they weren't necessarily positive experiences. He's probably lived in another household prior, maybe several. So, regardless, I'm hoping by the end of the video, you'll have some concrete steps that you can take to ensure a nice, smooth transition for your new family member into your household. So, and the third one, by the way, is going to be the most important. The first tip is figure out your household rules and adhere to them 100% with your new dog in the household. That might sound obvious, but what tends to happen, especially with rescue dogs, is our emotions take over and we feel sorry for them because we may know that they've had trauma in their background, or we may just guess that they've had some bad experiences. They've been passed around from one family to another, whatever the backstory might be, or we might not know the backstory, so then we're really guessing. But we tend to approach that the way we might with a human being and try to provide extra comfort to help them get over that. With a dog, that's not going to work. It's going to backfire. So rather than allowing the dog more leeway in certain areas that down the road you're not necessarily going to continue with, start from the beginning. And what I always suggest is you want to adapt the role of being a benevolent dictator. So everything the dog is going to do, he's going to do because you've given him permission. And you're going to be very fair and very objective and very clear about what the boundaries are. But if you instill those boundaries right from the get go, what you're providing the dog and what's so beneficial is clarity. He doesn't have to guess as to what he may or may not be allowed to do. And they don't want to guess. They don't want to potentially do the wrong thing. But if they don't know what that is and they don't know how to succeed, then you start to build insecurities. So as long as we adhere to the rules that we want to see down the road, whether or not he's allowed on the furniture, whether or not he is, going to sleep on the bed or whatever it might be, don't come from a place of emotion, come from a place of practicality. And like I said, being the leader, the one who's going to determine what the dog may or may not do. So that's recommendation number one. Recommendation number two, crate train the dog. This is something we recommend to all dogs, regardless of the background, the heritage, etc. But what that will enable, especially for your rescue dog, is it's going to give him a safe place. A crate is not it is it's a tool for confinement, but we use it in such a way that the dog looks at that as having his own room, his own space. So that means he has a sanctuary that he can retreat to if he's starting to feel unsure or overwhelmed or insecure. And by providing him that, you are really giving him a gift of the ability to self regulate and put himself in the best situation he can be in. So if you think of it this way, if you have a dog who is a little nervous around large numbers of people or around very loud people or whatever kind of excitement level's going on, if he doesn't feel like he can get away from that, his stress level is going to go through the roof. It's very overwhelming for a lot of dogs when everybody swoops in and they just want to love on him and give him all this attention, but he doesn't want that. That's gratifying for the people, not for the dog. So if he has a way that he can remove himself from that stressful situation and just give himself a timeout where he can decompress, the equivalent to us just taking a deep breath, step back from the situation for a minute, and then if he feels comfortable enough to kind of venture out a little bit, let him do it at his own speed. But we really, really need to take the whole concept of crate training to the appropriate level, which is it's a safeguard. It protects him from making bad decisions in the home as far as chewing on things or barking or whatever he might be doing. But on top of that, from his perspective, it is providing him a sanctuary. And that can be invaluable, especially for dogs that have had all kinds of tumultuous situations in their past and haven't had the option or the luxury of going into their own space where they will be left alone, which, as hard as it might be for us, because again, we come from an emotional position, we need to respect that and give him the grace to have that space for himself. Okay. The third and final tip, this is the big one. And this is the one that for a lot of people is very difficult to do. But if you understand the value of it, then it makes it a little easier. Give your rescue dog or your shelter dog time to adjust. This is something that we cannot say it's going to take him a week, 2 weeks, a month. We don't know. He's going to set the timetable for us. But it's very tempting. And a lot of people think this is the right thing to do when in fact it is actually going to have detrimental outcomes. In the course of your daily life, don't necessarily insert the dog at every stage. You may have a vision of taking your dog, your new dog, to your kids' sporting events, taking him to Main Street, taking him to Dog Beach, whatever it might be, the dog park, etc., taking him to a training class. These are all great ideas, and these are things that will be very beneficial to him when he's ready. But if we try to put him into these situations before he fully trusts his new owners and is fully comfortable and fully integrated into his new home, we are likely to run into some problems. Let me outline a couple of scenarios here. Number one, what you see in the shelter is not necessarily the true nature of the dog. So a lot of dogs go into the shelters and they become very suppressed. They're very shut down. And so when you go and you see him and he looks really calm and chill and he's just hanging out and doing nothing, chances are there's an energy level in there somewhere, but in the shelter he is keeping a lid on it. He has been through whatever he's been through and he's feeling somewhat shut down. So once you get him home and again you let him relax, work his way into the household and adjust to the new routine because it's going to be new to him, then you might start to see behaviors you didn't expect to see based on the temperament you thought you were seeing in the shelter. So you need the time as well to understand what's going on in this dog's head. But he needs the time to fully adjust. When you take him to your kids' sporting events or to Main Street or wherever else, you need to be somebody who is his anchor. He needs to fully trust you in order to be confident and comfortable in those settings. So there you go. 3 concrete things. Figure out your house rules and adhere to them 100% right from the beginning. Don't let your emotions cloud that up. Crate train your dog so he has his own little sanctuary where he can decompress and be left just to relax on his own. And then the third one, and the most important one, give your dog time to learn to trust you and time for you to be able to read him and figure him out as well. But this has to be a mutual effort. You guys are learning each other at the same time, and you cannot rush that part of the experience. As long as you give him time now, it's going to pay off in dividends down the road. So hopefully that was helpful, and I will see you on the next one.